Have you ever felt that no matter how much you chase after more things, something still seems to be missing? Maybe it's a bigger house, a better job, a new car, or that trip you've never managed to take. But when you finally get it, the emptiness remains. It feels like happiness is always just one step ahead, unattainable. Let me ask you this. What if true happiness isn't found in more, but in less? I want to talk to you as if we were sitting face to face. Because, like so many people I know, maybe you've also wondered if you're complicating life unnecessarily. And sometimes, the answer is closer than we think: simplicity. It sounds so obvious, but it's a concept we often ignore because we've been taught to believe that happiness lies in conquering, accumulating, reaching something far away. Today, we live in a world where excess is celebrated. More is always seen as better. You're bombarded with ads, social media, and expectations that make you believe you'll only be happy when you have everything others have or more than they do. But do you know what happens? In chasing more, we end up losing ourselves along the way. Life becomes overwhelming, and we forget what truly matters. Now, imagine for a moment that you could look at your life through different eyes. Imagine that happiness isn't in what you don't yet have, but in what you already possess and can enjoy more fully. Time with your family, simple conversations with friends, the smell of fresh coffee in the morning, or that peaceful feeling when you watch the sunset. These little things cost nothing, but hold immeasurable value. Throughout this conversation, I want to show you how simplicity can bring true happiness. I'm not here to sell you an idea. I'm here to help you rediscover something you might have forgotten. Let's work together to clear away the clouds and let the sun shine again. Have you ever stopped to think about what simplicity truly means? It's not just about living with less or reducing material possessions. Simplicity is like looking at a cloudy sky and realizing that behind the clouds, the sun is still shining. It's always been there, but it's the excesses, the worries, unnecessary commitments, and desires that add no real value that block our view. In today's world, we often confuse happiness with complexity. We think we need to do more, have more, be more. But is that really true? Simplicity is the opposite of that. It's the art of focusing on what truly matters. It's like a sculptor who, by removing the excess stone, reveals a hidden masterpiece. Imagine your life as a chest. Inside it, you keep everything: memories, dreams, responsibilities, and inevitably, emotional and material clutter. When the chest is too full, it becomes hard to find what truly matters. By simplifying, you create space to breathe, to live, to appreciate what really holds value. Let me share something curious with you. Research shows that when we remove excess, whether it's in our home, our work, or even our minds, we feel an almost immediate relief. It's as if a weight is lifted off our shoulders. That's because simplicity isn't just an aesthetic choice. It's an emotional necessity. And do you know what's even more interesting? Simplicity is a gateway to two. When you stop focusing on what's missing and start seeing what you already have, something changes. Suddenly, that simple homemade lunch becomes a special moment. A walk in the park turns into a source of joy. You realize that happiness wasn't in the things you wanted to achieve, but in the way you choose to live. Now, take a moment and reflect. What are the clouds blocking your sunshine? Share in the comments below what you think you could simplify in your life. Maybe it's unnecessary commitments, accumulated objects, or even expectations you've placed on yourself. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, simplifying isn't losing, it's rediscovering. It's like finding a treasure that was always there, waiting for you to notice it. Picture Emily, a woman in her 30s, walking through the busy streets of a bustling metropolis. Her heels echo on the pavement as neon lights flash endlessly overhead. She carries an expensive bag filled with items she barely uses, and her phone vibrates constantly with notifications. One chaotic day, Emily stops in the middle of an intersection, surrounded by honking horns and hurried pedestrians, and notices something strange. Despite everything she's achieved, the luxurious apartment, the high salary, the fancy dinners, she still feels empty. After weeks of insomnia and anxiety, she decides to make a change. Without telling many friends, Emily leaves the city and moves to a village surrounded by green mountains and open skies. On her first morning in her new home, she wakes up to the sound of birds, something she hadn't heard in years. The window of her small cottage opens to a field where children play and neighbors tend to their gardens. She smells the earthy aroma of damp soil and the simple coffee she brews, so different from the fancy lattes she used to buy in the city. Over time, Emily starts growing her own vegetables, her hands learning the texture of the soil, and she rediscovers the joy of something as simple as picking a ripe tomato from her garden. At night, she sits around a fire with her neighbors, sharing stories and laughter. There was no luxury, but there was something she had never experienced before: peace. Every detail of that simple life felt more real, more intense. It was as if she had finally found what she'd been looking for all along without even knowing it. Now, let me introduce you to Michael, a young executive always dressed in impeccable suits with a shiny designer watch on his wrist. Michael was deeply in love with his own ambition. His apartment was filled with gadgets, every corner packed with glowing screens, cutting-edge devices, and expensive furniture. But deep inside, he felt a void that no sophisticated object could ever fill. One day, at the insistence of a friend, Michael decides to go on a mountain hike. When he arrives at the trailhead, the view leaves him speechless. A sea of trees swaying in the wind, the sound of a distant waterfall, and the crisp scent of the forest. For hours, he walks along dirt paths, feeling the texture of leaves and the freedom of being disconnected. That night, camping under a starry sky that seemed infinite, Michael realizes he had never felt so comfortable in his own company. When he returned home, everything felt different. His gadgets, which once fascinated him, now seemed like ordinary objects. He began donating what he didn't need and started spending more time outdoors. His life became simpler, but his happiness grew exponentially. And you? Have you ever experienced something like this, where simplicity showed you a new perspective? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might be the inspiration someone else needs. Simplicity isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's a silent teacher that offers some of the most valuable lessons we can learn. When we choose to simplify, we realize that what truly matters isn't what we accumulate, but how we connect with what we already have. One of the first lessons simplicity teaches us is the power of gratitude. When we stop chasing after what's far away and begin to look around, we discover a wealth that's already present. Think about the last time you truly felt grateful for something simple. Maybe it was the smile of a loved one, a home-cooked meal, or the soft sound of rain falling. These moments don't require effort, but they are filled with profound meaning. This brings us to Leonardo da Vinci's famous quote, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." It reminds us that at its core, the simplest things, a moment of peace or a gesture of kindness, carry a level of sophistication we often overlook. We don't need grand gestures to find beauty. It's already in the small things surrounding us. Another powerful lesson is the importance of living in the present. So often, we're consumed with thoughts of the future, planning, calculating, waiting, that we forget to appreciate the now. Simplicity brings us back to the present moment, serving as an anchor that keeps us from being swept away by the currents of worry. A clear example of this is when we disconnect from digital distractions for a while. Without notifications and noise, we can experience the world around us with greater clarity. Simplicity also shows us that less is more in our relationships. When we reduce external pressures, we start to value genuine connections. Instead of seeking the company of many, we give real attention to those who truly matter. This creates an emotional support network that strengthens both our lives and the lives of those we care about. Finally, simplicity teaches us about resilience. By removing the excess, we learn to handle adversity more effectively. We're no longer weighed down by the extra we don't need, which gives us the strength to focus on what truly matters. Imagine your life as a backpack. The more unnecessary things you carry, the heavier it becomes. By simplifying, you create space and energy to handle what's essential. So ask yourself, what lesson can simplicity teach you today? Perhaps it's time to pause, look around, and recognize something you're deeply grateful for. If this resonates with you, share your reflections in the comments. Your insights might help others see the beauty in what they already have. Talking about simplicity is inspiring, but putting it into practice is where true transformation begins. The good news is that simplifying your life doesn't require drastic changes or financial investment. In fact, it often means the opposite. Here are some strategies you can start applying today. The first strategy is identifying excess. Take a moment to look around your home, your workplace, or even your schedule. Ask yourself, does this truly add value to my life? It could be an object, a habit, or even a relationship. When you remove what doesn't make a difference, you make room for what truly matters. A simple example is decluttering that drawer where everything seems to pile up. That small act can symbolize how you want to organize other areas of your life. The second strategy is letting go of what no longer serves you. Letting go isn't just about donating old clothes or unused items. It's about releasing what holds you back emotionally. It might be the weight of unrealistic expectations, lingering resentment, or even constant comparisons with others. Letting go is an act of courage and an essential step toward a lighter, more meaningful life. Now, let's talk about priorities. Identify what's most important to you. It could be spending more time with your family, dedicating yourself to a hobby you love, or simply taking better care of yourself. Once you understand your priorities, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't contribute to them. As Greg McKeown said in his book Essentialism, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Another important step is creating simple routines. Don't underestimate the power of small daily actions. For example, starting your day with 10 minutes of meditation or a walk can make a huge difference in your mental and emotional clarity. The key is to keep things easy and consistent. Last but not least, cultivate moments of introspection. Take some time to be with yourself, away from distractions. Ask yourself, what really matters to me? These moments can reveal a lot about what you truly value. If you think these ideas might work in your life, share in the comments which one you'd like to try first. And if you're enjoying this kind of conversation, subscribe to the channel to keep exploring ideas that can transform your daily life. Remember, simplicity isn't something you achieve overnight. It's an ongoing practice, but the results are worth every effort. Everything we've discussed so far points to one important conclusion. Simplicity isn't just a choice. It's a path you can take to transform your life. And the best part is that it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, or what you have. There's always something you can simplify. Think about your daily routine. How often do you feel overwhelmed by things that deep down don't really matter? Imagine that instead of filling your days with unnecessary commitments, you create space for what truly counts. Time to reconnect with yourself, to cultivate moments with loved ones, and to enjoy the simple things in life. That space doesn't happen by chance, it's an intentional choice you can make. Let's put this into practice. Remember the metaphor of the cloudy sky. When you focus on clearing the clouds, the excess, the distractions, the sun, your happiness becomes more visible. So, what are the clouds in your life? Maybe it's a packed schedule full of obligations you accepted out of guilt, or the constant pressure to meet standards imposed by others. By removing these barriers, you create an opportunity to live more authentically. And if you're thinking that simplifying means giving up on dreams or ambitions, let me be clear. It's not about letting go of what's important, but prioritizing what truly makes sense for you. When you choose to live with fewer distractions and more focus, your energy is directed toward what genuinely brings joy and purpose. Now, I want you to visualize something. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your life a year from now. What would it look like if you decided to simplify? What areas would feel lighter? How would it feel to wake up every day at peace with your choices? It's possible. And it starts with small steps. Simplicity is also a communal journey. When you share your experiences and lessons, you inspire others to do the same. So, let me ask you, what would you like to simplify today? Share in the comments, because your answer might be the push someone else needs to start their own transformation. And if you feel like these ideas are helping you see your life differently, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll keep receiving reflections like this to help you live a lighter and happier life. Remember, simplicity isn't a destination. It's a way of walking through life. Choose to take the first step today. We've reached the end of this conversation, but in reality, this is just the beginning of something bigger. The opportunity to transform your life through simplicity. Today we explored how simplifying can bring more clarity, gratitude, and happiness. We've seen that simplicity isn't about losing, but about finding what truly matters. You've learned that happiness doesn't lie in accumulated possessions or grand achievements, but in the moments we create and the connections we nurture. As Leonardo da Vinci once said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And this level of sophistication is within reach for all of us through small yet powerful choices. Perhaps during this speech, you've recognized some clouds you need to clear in your life. Maybe it's expectations that no longer make sense, accumulated objects that don't add value, or even the constant pressure to do more and be more. But here's what I want you to take with you. Simplicity starts with a decision. It doesn't have to be perfect or fast, just true. Looking back on everything we've discussed, I want you to reflect. What can you simplify today? It could be as simple as organizing a space, adjusting your routine, or even setting aside a moment to be with yourself. Whatever the step may be, it matters, because every choice to simplify is a choice to live better. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. I want to know how you see simplicity in your life and what you're willing to transform. And, of course, if you want to keep exploring topics like this, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future conversations. Remember, happiness isn't something distant or complicated. It's found in the simplest things, in genuine laughter, warm hugs, and calming silence. Simplicity isn't a destination, but the way you choose to walk through life. So take the first step today. Breathe deeply, look around, and realize how rich you already are with what you have. Because in the end, true happiness doesn't come from more, but from living fully with what's already within your reach. Happiness is waiting for you right here where you are.